Wow, look at the time. All right, we really need to get right into this. 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the fastest way to look rich is usually the absolute fastest way to stay broke. And listen, I'm not talking about buying fake designer bags or knockoff watches here. I'm talking about the expensive things, the things that feel completely justified, the things your neighbors have, and the things your bank will happily, easily approve you for. Today, in this explainer, we are looking at the quietly wealthy, and we're going to break down the 4 specific financial traps that they absolutely refuse to fall into.
Okay, let's dive into this by picturing 2 windows on the exact same street, right? So behind the first window, we have Imani. She earns $50,000 a year. She's sitting at her kitchen table with a warm mug, totally relaxed, completely unhurried. Why? Because she has absolutely zero consumer debt hanging over her head. Every single dollar she earns has a clear, decided purpose. Now, behind the second window, we have Whitney. Whitney earns $150,000 a year. That's literally 3 times as much. But Whitney is hunched over a cluttered desk, head in her hands. It is past midnight, and she is anxiously juggling multiple maxed-out credit card portals, just trying to figure out which minimum payment she can actually afford to make this week. So think about that. 3 times the income, yet the lower earner is quietly building real wealth, while the higher earner is exactly 1 bad month from falling completely apart. How on earth does this happen?
Well, to understand this, we really have to expose the illusion of the gross salary. When you hear that Whitney makes $150,000, your brain immediately assumes she has 3 times the spending power of Imani. She absolutely does not. Because you guys, taxes do not scale politely. As income climbs, more and more of each dollar gets pulled into higher brackets. The gap in actual take-home pay is nowhere near triple. But as we dig into the numbers, we uncover the fatal mistake here. Whitney doesn't budget based on her actual take-home pay. She budgets around the fantasy of her gross number. She feels like a $150,000 earner, so she spends exactly like one. Imani, on the other hand, operates purely on her actual, realistic take-home reality.
And the math behind this is just a brutal gut punch. Because Imani lives modestly beneath her means, she manages to save 20% of her income. That comes out to $10,000 a year, flowing straight into investments. Whitney, living her inflated, maxed-out lifestyle, only manages to save about 5% of her income. And 5% of $150,000 is just $7,500. I want you to really let that sink in for a second. The person earning a third as much is putting away $2,500 more than her high-earning neighbor every single year.
Now wait, hold on, let me just stop you right there before you make any assumptions. Whitney is not a stupid person. She didn't go blow all her money at a casino. Every single purchase she made felt completely reasonable and totally justifiable in the moment. Her behavior simply outran her salary because she fell victim to a very specific set of financial hurdles. She is trapped in the appearance of wealth rather than the substance of it.
So here is the diagnostic framework to save your financial future. We are going to cover Trap 1, status vehicles, Trap 2, maximum mortgages, Trap 3, the lifestyle upgrade spiral, and Trap 4, the premium brand tax.
All right, let's jump right into trap number 1, status vehicles. Basically, the look rich trap.
I want you to think about that rapidly depreciating machine sitting in your driveway right now. The average new car payment in recent data is a staggering $735 per month. That is almost $9,000 a year, leaving your bank account for an asset that loses roughly 20% of its value the absolute second you drive it off the dealership lot. That is one very expensive new car smell. You're basically financing an anchor. The quietly wealthy simply refuse to do this. They buy 2- or 3-year-old vehicles, they let someone else absorb that massive initial depreciation hit, and they keep the difference. Because here is the hidden math that quietly destroys wealth. It's not just the monthly payment that kills you, it is the opportunity cost of what that payment prevents you from doing. If you took that exact same $735 a month and invested it at a historic 10% average market return over 10 years, you would have roughly $151,000. When you finance a status vehicle, you are literally trading $151,000 in lasting wealth just to look rich at a stoplight.
Moving right along to trap number 2, maximum mortgages. This is all about losing your optionality.
Now, this is a trap almost nobody sees coming, mostly because society constantly tells you that a giant house is the ultimate responsible choice, right? But look at this reality. The bank tells you that you are approved for a $600,000 loan, so you go out and you buy a $600,000 house. So the crucial point here is this. The bank's approval limit is not your budget. It is their risk tolerance, calculated entirely on their terms, purely for their profit. When you max out your mortgage, you are stripping away your own optionality.
You can't take a risk on a new business idea. You can't easily weather a sudden layoff. You can't just walk away from a toxic job. Ultimately, you don't own the house owns you.
The financially disciplined, on the other hand, deliberately buy well beneath their approval limit. They prioritize something called breathing room. Breathing room is that deliberate gap between what you earn and what you are forced to spend every single month. It's the surplus. Without that gap, absolutely no other wealth-building moves are even possible. That extra capacity is exactly what funds your emergency safety net, your investments, and ultimately, your freedom.
Okay, on to trap number 3, the upgrade spiral, otherwise known as lifestyle inflation.
This one, man, this is by far the sneakiest trap on our list because it is literally sold to you as a reward for your hard work. You get a raise, you upgrade your apartment. You get a bonus, you upgrade your vacation. You hit a new income milestone and boom, you start flying business class. This is lifestyle inflation. And the insidious part, the part that absolutely drives me crazy, is that every single one of these upgrades feels entirely justified. You tell yourself, hey, I earned it, but you are not actually enjoying your success. You are just financing the appearance of success using the very money that was supposed to secure your actual future.
Now, contrast that endless escalator of lifestyle creep with the strategic approach of the quietly wealthy. Think back to Imani and Whitney. Whitney uses a 100% lifestyle upgrade approach. Basically, every new dollar she earns just funds a more expensive version of her same stress. Imani, though, uses the 80-20 rule for income increases. When she gets a raise, 80% of that new money goes directly into wealth-building assets. Stocks, real estate, retirement funds. Only 20% goes toward lifestyle upgrades. This is exactly how you accelerate your wealth while still enjoying the present, rather than just letting your expenses continuously match your income until you are exhausted and broke.
And finally, we arrive at trap number 4, the premium brand tax, paying for a signal.
I gotta warn you, this is the trap that might make you genuinely uncomfortable. We really need to look at the brutal reality of what we are actually buying out there. A $500 designer belt does not hold your pants up 10 times better than a solid $50 quality leather belt. A $1,200 luxury sneaker does not perform 24 times better than a solid $50 pair. When you pay these massive premiums, you're not paying for utility, and you're usually not even paying for quality. You are paying a premium brand tax to broadcast a signal. You're paying to communicate status to strangers who, frankly, are way too busy worrying about their own status to even care about yours.
And the cost of that signal is just staggering. If you avoid the premium brand tax and just buy quality alternatives, saving, let's say, $450 a month, that is $5,400 a year. Over 10 years with compound growth, that is over $90,000. Let that sink in. A $90,000 mistake, permanently gone from your net worth forever, just to impress people who will probably forget you existed by next Tuesday.
So, let's wrap this all up. The quietly wealthy are not superhuman. They don't have some magical willpower that you lack. They simply looked at the math, looked at their personal values, and made a firm decision once about who they are actually spending their money for. They opted out of the financial hamster wheel of constant signaling. They designed a life where their money works for them instead of working around the clock to maintain an image for everyone else.
Ultimately, it all comes down to one fundamental, somewhat somber reflection. Keeping your money is entirely different from showing it off. You have to ask yourself, will you choose to actually be wealthy with the breathing room and the genuine freedom that comes with it? Or will you exhaust your life's earnings just to look wealthy? Take a hard look at your own budget today. I'd love to hear from you, so comment below with the purchase trap that hits you the hardest. Until next time, stay focused and keep your money.